In this training, we're going to look at where you'll see campaigns and segments show up in your databank, as well as how to create and edit those campaigns and segments. At a fundamental level, campaigns and segments are just a means of organizing the fundraising data that's stored inside your databank. Once every contribution has a campaign and a segment code attached to it, you'll be able to search based on those campaigns and segments. This is useful if, for instance, I wanted to send a thank you email to all of my event sponsors, or a thank you to everyone who contributed to my fundraising drive. To do a search based on campaign or segment, all I have to do is go to Search, Contributions, and then I can either choose a whole campaign, or I can choose the key codes or segments within that campaign. When my contributions are organized by campaign and segment, I also have a lot of built-in reports that I can run to analyze my fundraising data. One example of this is the Campaign Summary Report. If I go to Fundraising, Reports, Campaign Summary, at a glance, I can see all of my campaigns and the total revenue for those campaigns. A common question is how to best organize your campaigns. While there's no one-size-fits-all approach to this, it's good to know the hierarchy involved in your campaigns. Generally, most organizations will stick to creating a campaign and then having the segments below that campaign. It is possible to also create a type that is above the campaign. This type is often used by organizations that have a C3, C4, and PAC arm of the organization in order to separate the contributions. Below the campaigns are the individual segments. A good example of why you would have different segments is if you have an event sponsor as well as ticket sales. Below the segments are the individual donations. Each one of these donations is represented in your databank by a contribution record. The contribution record has both a reference to the segment and a reference to the campaign. Here we have a typical example of a campaign that's been set up. In this case, we're looking at the award banquet. Our organization had an award banquet, and at that award banquet, we had different segments: table sales, program ads, individual gifts, and a silent auction. Because we've organized our campaign as having those 4 different segments, we'll be able to tell not only how much money we raised during the campaign, but also what money came from which segment. To create a new campaign, first go to Fundraising, Campaigns in your menu. Click on the green circle with a plus sign. On the Add a Campaign Record page, the only required field is a campaign code. In this case, I'm going to choose Banquet 2012. I'm going to add some additional information to help me identify this campaign. It's not necessary for me to add any additional information. I've now created my campaign, so now I need to add some segments to it. You'll see I have a new segment box. I have 4 different segments that I would like to add to my awards banquet. Those are table sales, program ads, individual gifts, and silent auction. I can now add contributions to this campaign. My databank forms can automatically do this for me, or I can manually enter these contributions in my databank. When I go to an individual record, I can now see under the campaign field my new campaign, Awards Banquet. I'll also be able to choose from my list of segments. Right now I'm looking at a campaign detail report for a year-end renewal mailing that I've sent. As you can see, I've entered the total quantity that I've sent for each segment. I've calculated the number of responses. I have the total revenue for each segment, the average contribution, my percent response, the cost for each segment, and the net revenue. To have your databank calculate this information for you, you need to add a little bit of extra information to your fundraising campaign. Let's take a look at how this campaign is structured. When looking at the campaign, you can see that I've entered a start date, the total number that have been sent, the total campaign cost, and I've also made some projections that will show up on a different report. The other thing that I've done is added some information to the individual segments. If I open up one of the segments, you can see that I have a quantity specified for the segment. If I need to edit a campaign later on, all I need to do is go back into my campaigns, click on the edit icon next to my campaign, and then click on the name of the campaign. This takes me back to a page that looks very similar to the initial page where I set up my campaign. Here I can edit the campaign name or add additional information to the campaign, such as the total campaign cost. It is not advised to change the full campaign number code because that will have to be changed on all contributions already attributed to this campaign. If you'd like to delete your campaign, click the delete key at the bottom of the campaign. To edit any of your individual segments, return to your campaign and click the edit icon next to each segment.